One day, Little Red Riding Hood's mother said to her, "Take this basket of goodies to your grandma's cottage, but don't talk to strangers on the way." Promising not to, Little Red Riding Hood skipped off. On her way, she met the big bad wolf, who asked, "Where are you going, little sweet girl?" "To my grandma's, Mr. Wolf," she answered. The big bad wolf then ran to her grandmother's cottage much before Little Red Riding Hood and knocked on the door. When Grandma opened the door, he locked her up in the cupboard. The bad wolf then wore Grandma's clothes and lay on her bed, waiting for Little Red Riding Hood. When Little Red Riding Hood reached the cottage, she entered and went to Grandma's bedside. "My, what big eyes you have, Grandma!" she said in surprise. "All the better to see you with, my dear," replied the wolf. "My, what big ears you have, Grandma!" said Little Red Riding Hood. "All the better to hear you with, my dear," said the wolf. "What big teeth you have, Grandma!" said Little Red Riding Hood. "All the better to eat you with," growled the wolf, pouncing on her. Little Red Riding Hood screamed, and the woodcutters in the forest came running to the cottage. They beat the big bad wolf and rescued Grandma from the cupboard. Grandma hugged Little Red Riding Hood with joy. The big bad wolf ran away, never to be seen again. Little Red Riding Hood had learnt her lesson and never spoke to strangers ever again. Once upon a time, in the deep sea kingdom, there lived the Sea King with his 5 mermaid daughters. Ariel was the youngest and the loveliest among them. She had a beautiful voice, and everybody from far and wide came to hear her sing and praised her voice and her beauty. One day, while Ariel was swimming on the surface of the water and watching ships go by, she saw a young man falling off his ship. She swam swiftly to save him from drowning and dragged him to the shore. Soon, people found the man on the shore, and Ariel swam away. This man was actually the prince of a kingdom. Ariel often thought of the young man and fell in love with the prince, but she was sad because of her fish tail. In the deep sea lived a witch with magical powers. One day, Ariel went to beg her for human legs. The witch said, "I need your beautiful voice. Only then I shall give you legs. But you must remember, every time you set your feet on the ground, it will hurt very badly." Ariel agreed. She did not mind the pain. All she wanted was to be with the prince. As soon as she got her 2 feet, Ariel became dumb. When she was leaving, the witch said, "If your prince marries anybody else, you shall dissolve in the sea water. You can never become a mermaid again." She loved the prince, but the prince was in love with the beautiful maiden who had served him. The prince did not realize it had been Ariel and she couldn't tell him. Obeying the wishes of his father, the prince went to meet the daughter of a neighboring king. Enchanted by her beauty, the prince was convinced that this was the same maiden who rescued him. He asked the princess to marry him. A grand wedding took place. Ariel was heartbroken. That night, crying, she ran to the seashore. There, she saw 4 mermaids. They were her sisters. One of them handed her a knife and said, "Here, Ariel, this is a magic knife. We gave our long hair locks to the witch of the deep sea, and she gave this to us in return. Kill your prince, and you shall turn into a mermaid again. Then you can come and live with us." Ariel took the magic knife and went to the prince's room at night. But she loved him so much that she could not kill him. She knew that at dawn she would vanish into the sea, just as the witch of the deep sea had told her earlier. She sat on the shore and wept silently. Suddenly, from the sky came a pink cloud. It lifted her from the land into the sky. "Where am I?" asked Ariel, for now she could talk. The beautiful fairies replied, "We are the air fairies. You are now one of us because you did a good deed for the person you love. Come with us." From then on, the little mermaid Ariel lived in the sky with the fairies. Once upon a time, there was a family of 3 bears who lived in a little house. The family included the big-sized Papa Bear, medium-sized Mama Bear, and the tiny little baby bear. One morning, Mama Bear thought of making porridge for breakfast. When served, it was much too hot. "Let's go for our morning walk," said Papa Bear. "Good idea," said Mama Bear. "It will be just right to eat when we come back," she added. While the bears were away, a naughty little girl came upon their house. Her name was Goldilocks because she had long golden hair. She knocked, but no one answered. So she walked straight inside. Goldilocks was hungry and she saw food on the table. She tasted the porridge from the first bowl. "Too hot!" she exclaimed. "Too cold and lumpy," said she after eating from Mama Bear's bowl and moved to the baby bear's bowl. "This tastes perfect," said she and emptied the bowl soon. After having food, Goldilocks walked into the living room. She saw 3 chairs. Papa Bear's chair was too high, while Mama Bear's chair was too hard. "This chair is just right," she said as she settled into Baby Bear's chair. But within an instant, the chair broke with a creak and a crack. "Let me sleep for a while," she thought, and to the bedroom. She found Papa Bear's bed too hard, and Mama Bear's bed was too soft. The moment she lay down in the 3rd bed, Goldilocks fell asleep, as it was quite comfortable. She was fast asleep when the bears came back. "Someone ate all my porridge," cried Baby Bear with his empty bowl. Papa Bear noticed that someone had been eating from his and Mama Bear's bowl too. "And someone sat on my chair and broke it," sobbed baby bear and big tears ran down his cheeks. Mama Bear noticed someone sat in her and Papa Bear's chair too. As soon as they went to the bedroom, Papa Bear growled, "Someone is being sleeping our bed." Before Mama Bear could say something, Baby Bear shouted, "Look, Mama! Someone is sleeping in my bed!" Goldilocks woke up the next moment. As she saw the three bears, she jumped and ran away into the forest. "She will never come here again," said Papa Bear and smiled. Once, a little boy was given a birthday present of a set of 25 tin soldiers. All the soldiers had shiny red and blue uniforms and gleaming tin muskets. However, one of the soldiers stood out from the rest because he had only one leg. In the same nursery, there were wax puppets and jack-in-the-boxes. There also lived a beautiful dancing paper doll who stood at the entrance to a cardboard castle which had a small mirror for a lake in front of it. One day, the puppets were playing together and the paper doll was dancing prettily. It was raining heavily outside. The tin soldier was standing on the windowsill and watching the dancing doll. The tin soldier at once fell into a drain. Two boys who were passing by found him on the street and floated him down a gutter in a paper boat. The little tin soldier flowed away in the water into the drain nearby. He saw a huge rat, but the tin soldier was brave and holding onto his musket, he floated away just in time and escaped. In the dark drain, the poor one-legged tin soldier had to fight many rats. The drain led into a canal where the water swirled fiercely, and here the little paper boat was torn. A fish saw the tin soldier and swallowed him. He lay inside the fish for 3 days in the dark. The tin soldier thought that he would die inside the fish. One day, a fisherman caught the fish and sold it in the market. A lady bought the fish from the market. Now, this lady happened to be the little boy's mother. Soon, the fish was being prepared for dinner in their kitchen. When the cook cut the fish, she found the tin soldier. Exclaiming in wonder, she called the boy and gave him the tin soldier. The tin soldier was very happy to be back in the same house with the same toys. He saw his beautiful paper doll dancing at the end of the table, while he stood at the other end. Long, long ago, a woodsman lived with his wife. They were unhappy because they did not have children. The woodsman would often implore God, "Give me a child, O Lord. I would be grateful to you even if it were as small as my thumb." And one day, the couple was blessed with a baby boy. They took great care of him, but he never outgrew the size of a man's thumb. So they named him Tom Thumb. One day, Tom's father said, "Oh, it would be great if you could drive the cart into the forest." Tom asked his mother to tuck him in the horse's ear. She did the same, and off went Tom and the horse. Tom would whisper the directions into the horse's ear, and the beast would follow. Soon, the cart reached the place where the woodsman was waiting in the forest. Two men who were walking in the forest had seen the cart running without a driver. They were shocked when they saw Tom's father took him out of the horse's ear. "I want to buy this clever small thing," said one of them. Before the woodsman could reply, Tom whispered, "Go ahead, father. Sell me. I will come back soon." And the woodsman sold Tom at a good price to them. Tom heard the other man saying, "We will be rich when we put him on display in the town." After some time, Tom requested that he wanted to walk around a little, to which they agreed. As soon as he came out of the man's pocket, he ran away and hid inside an empty shell. The two men searched for him but could not find him anywhere. While inside the shell, Tom heard two thieves planning their next robbery. "You might need my help," said Tom Thumb. Tom came out of the shell and said, "I will easily enter the parson's house and will throw the money from the window." The thieves liked Tom's suggestion and agreed. Soon, Tom sneaked inside the parson's house and did as was planned. Then he shouted from the window, "Should I begin throwing the parson's money?" The parson's cook heard the loud voice and ran after the thieves, who ran even faster. After Tom's plan had failed, he went to sleep in the cow shed. The next morning, the cook fed the cow with a bundle of hay on which Tom was sleeping. Tom woke up to find himself inside the cow's stomach and shouted, "Let me out! Let me out!" The cook was scared to find the cow speaking. She called the parson, who came to view this shocking discovery. He too couldn't believe what he saw. However, soon the cow threw Tom out of her stomach. While Tom was running away, a hungry wolf saw him and swallowed him down. While inside the wolf's stomach, he said, "Follow my directions if you want more food," and directed the wolf to reach his own house. When they had reached, he said, "Look for the drain, which will take you straight into the kitchen." His plan worked, as the wolf squeezed itself through the narrow drain and reached the kitchen. As the wolf ate noisily, Tom's parents went to their kitchen. "Bring my axe!" shouted the woodsman as soon as he saw the wolf. "Be careful, father! I am inside the wolf's stomach!" cried Tom. Tom's father then axed the wolf's head, and Tom jumped out of the dead wolf. He clung to his parents and said, "Didn't I say I will come back, father?" "Yes, my dear, but I will never let you go away like this again. Not even for all the money in this world," cried the woodsman. and the family was too happy to be reunited. Once upon a time, there was an honest but poor shoemaker. One day, he had no money to buy food for himself and his wife. He searched and searched in vain. All that he could find was one piece of leather big enough to make a pair of shoes. He cut out the piece of leather and went to sleep, thinking he would sew the shoes the next day and sell them. As the shoemaker slept on an empty stomach, he woke up early. Soon he went to his workshop. He was shocked to see that in place of the cut-out pieces of leather lay a pair of beautiful shoes. Did someone come here last night? He wondered. His wife was equally shocked when he told her. As soon as he put the beautiful shoes on sale, they were sold, and the money was good. Now, the shoemaker could buy food as well as leather to sew 2 pairs. He cut out the leather and left the pieces to make shoes in the morning. And he found 2 pairs of shoes ready to be sold when he woke up. He looked around, but there was no trace of anyone who had come there in his absence. His wife was immensely happy. No sooner did he put the shoes on display than they were sold. Now, he had sufficient money to buy leather for 4 pairs of shoes. Once more, he cut out the pieces only to find 4 pair of shoes in the morning. Around midnight, 2 tiny elves dressed in rags came dancing into the room. Within 2 hours, the hard-working little elves stitched all the shoes and left the room. The shoemaker's wife had a plan in mind. She said, "I will make pretty clothes for them. And I will make shoes for them," added the shoemaker. Soon the couple was at the task. By Christmas, they had crafted some very nice outfits for the elves. On Christmas Eve, the shoemaker laid the fancy little elf clothes. Then he hid his wife behind a curtain in his workshop. As the clock struck 12, the elves came in. They were delighted as soon as they looked at the little pile of gifts. They wore the clothes and danced in glee. They made funny gestures and motions and laughed with happiness. After 2 hours of dancing and merrymaking, they quietly moved away. That was the elves' last visit to the shoemaker's workshop. They never came back anymore, but blessed the shoemaker and his wife with good luck. And the shoemaker and his wife led a happy and prosperous life as they had everything that they wanted. Long, long ago, there lived a beautiful princess who had a golden ball. One day, as she was playing in the garden, the ball fell into a pond. She was very upset and did not know what to do. At the same time, as she sat there crying helplessly, a frog hopped out of the pond and asked, "Why are you crying, little princess?" She told him about her golden ball. The ugly frog said, "I can help you get your ball, But what will you give me in return? I will give you anything you want, promised the princess. The frog immediately dived into the water and fetched the ball for her. The princess was very happy. The frog reminded her, "Remember that you promised me anything. Well, I want to be your friend. Eat from your plate and sleep in your palace." The princess hated the idea, but she agreed and ran back to the palace. The next morning, the princess found the frog waiting for her. The ugly frog said, "I have come to live in your palace." Hearing this, the princess ran to her father, crying. When the kind king heard about the promise, he told her, "A promise is a promise, and you must keep your word. You must let the frog stay here." The princess was very angry, but she had no choice and let the dirty frog stay. He ate from her plate during dinner and asked the princess to take him to her bed at night. The princess picked him up angrily and threw him to the floor. In a flash, the frog turned into a handsome prince. He told the princess that he had actually been under the spell of a wicked witch. The princess fell in love with the prince. They were married and lived happily ever after. Once upon a time, an old woman lived with her husband in a village. Baking was her hobby. One day, she thought of baking a gingerbread man, and she began preparing the batter and kneading the dough. After cutting out a very nice gingerbread man, she put it in the oven. And then something strange happened. Soon, she heard a voice calling out for help. "Please take me out of here!" cried someone from the oven. As soon as she opened the oven, the gingerbread man ran away. She ran after the gingerbread man with her husband in vain. And the gingerbread man sang, "Run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I am the gingerbread man." A cow noticed the gingerbread man and began running after him. The cow said, "Moo! You look yummy." But the gingerbread man laughed at the cow and ran faster. He sang while he ran, "Run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I am the gingerbread man." Though it ran very fast, the cow could not catch the gingerbread man. And then a horse saw the gingerbread man. "Nay, I hope you don't mind becoming my lunch today," said the horse while grinning from ear to ear. "Oh, but you need to catch me first," said the gingerbread man and ran very, very fast while he sang, "Run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I am the gingerbread man." Even the horse could not eat the gingerbread man. Soon, he met a sly old fox who was pleased to have found a tasty lunch. "You are getting breathless. Why don't you rest?" said the cunning fox. But the gingerbread man didn't stop and continued running and singing. After a while, he reached a river. Now, he didn't know what to do. The fox saw this and said, "Oh, I can help you cross the river. Come on, my tail. Don't worry." And the gingerbread man sat on the fox's tail. A little later, the fox said, "You are quite heavy for my tail. Please jump on my back." And the gingerbread man followed what she said. "My plan is working exactly the way I had wanted," thought the scheming fox and grinned. Before long, she played her last trick. "I have got backache. Sit on my nose, please," she pleaded. And he did the same. As soon as they reached the other side of the river, the fox tossed the gingerbread man in the air and ate him. And this brought the end of the little gingerbread man.